So, immediately after that happened, they brought out these incredibly huge yellow bananas and they carefully put them on all four of the foundation's companions. Then, when our dear aunt saw a completely headless figure just sitting there, right on our very own stairs that go up to the roof, she saw it clearly and actually started to smile. After that had occurred, a wicked witch, would come over to visit my mother every single day. When they picked him up, the child's eyes were open, but the child had turned to the side. My brother hadn't noticed. When he saw that the child's eyes were open, my brother said, "What are you doing here? Let's go, I'll take you to mom." But when he saw the child and the child smiled at him, he ran out of our house screaming. He ran all the way to the Eid ground shouting, "Auntie, auntie," as he ran away from the house. So as soon as did the coconut burst right then and there? On the spot. When the coconut burst, my mother jumped back so far, just like when a big truck tire explodes and people run away from it. After that, what happened was that our uncle was very handsome. His eyes,
He was the one who used to have magic done.
he was so strikingly and incredibly handsome, remarkably tall and exceptionally well built, with a very fair skinned complexion, just like a Kashmiri Pathan, and his eyes were truly captivating. Where we used to sit, the path we used to pass through, wherever we used to stay, he would mess it up, disturb it a lot. So once a Jinn came and sat right next to them, sitting there very calmly. Now, when he looked over and saw his hair and all, as soon as he glanced over, he screamed loudly and ran away crying.
Assalamu alaikum, my dear friends. I truly hope you are all doing exceptionally well today and are in the best of health. Welcome back to another brand new and exciting episode of In Reality. Tape. Now, there are three specific things I always mention. Do you happen to know what they are? The very first thing is to please subscribe to the channel, which is incredibly important for our growth. You see, a lot of people enjoy and consume our content every day, but then they forget to subscribe, which is actually a very big deal for me and my hardworking team. And as for the second thing that I would really like to address today is that if you have ever personally experienced any such incident or similar situation in your own life that you would now like to take a moment to share with us, please do not hesitate to reach out. We truly believe that your unique stories and individual perspectives are incredibly valuable to our growing community, and hearing about your personal journey can provide immense support and inspiration to others who might be going through something very similar right now. If you want to share anything related to paranormal activities, there is a Google form in the description. Please fill it out and you can become a part of this podcast. My team reads these stories, and after scrutinizing them, they will invite you. Today's guest has also come to this podcast in the same way. He filled out the Google form, and after reading his story, we asked him to come and sit down for a conversation. With me is Mr. Abdul Sabur. Peace be upon you. How are you? Are you well? Alhamdulillah. This sofa is a bit crooked, you know? Yeah, it's tilted a little like this because it's really noticeable to me. Anyway, that's our technical discussion going on. So, how are you? Are you well?
Alhamdulillah, you tell me, how are you?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah.
Brother, thank you for inviting me and bringing me here.
Sir, it's just your personality. What can we do?
That's it.
Since you were the one who actually wrote the entire story, I really thought it would be a wonderful idea to invite you here today. And then we could finally sit down face to face and have a long, meaningful talk about it all. It all worked out.
It all happened before our eyes.
We did it.
It was done by our own. There was no need to go to outsiders.
Wow, wow, wow. The way the story goes is that in Nazimabad, specifically at number 3, is where their house stands.
Yes, it's still there, Nazimabad number 3, right in front of the Edgah ground.
Yes.
So when our house was built, it was the very first house in Nazimabad.
What year was this?
Just imagine, go back 65 years from today, that's right.
Okay,
Our house is 65 years old.
that's right.
So our dear grandfather and beloved uncle worked to build that house together.
That's right.
Because my grandfather was a contractor, so our family business is construction.
All right.
So what happened was, When our grandfather said, let's build a house here, our uncle agreed and said, all right, let's do it. So then the most When grandfather started the construction at that time, uncle took advantage of the fact that grandfather wasn't present. He had gone somewhere. Now, uncle had this habit, he was into all this magic and such things, and so was his wife. I mean, even at that time, they were very involved in these things. So then, after that, they brought these big bananas and placed them at all four corners of the foundation. Neither our grandfather nor anyone else knew about it. The purpose of putting those things there was to ensure that this house would never be inhabited, nor would it ever be sold. And literally, even today, that house remains exactly the same, abandoned. Neither we live there, nor does anyone else, nor has the house been sold. The only person who lives there is one of our uncles, who used to work in transportation. All of my father's brothers, my father had a total of 8 brothers, including himself, and
So the property dispute must still be ongoing.
yes, it's still ongoing, but our father completely gave up because so much had happened to us in that house. Let me tell you, my mother was exhausted in every possible way.
I see.
She said, I just can't live here anymore. Please get me out of here. I only have 2 children. I can't live with them anymore. I just can't manage anymore. So when all those things started happening, it's the house of Tikizar, it's the house of Ansari builders, but then after some time, things started getting really bad at home. There were a lot of fights and arguments because our uncle, who had orchestrated all of this, had actually left that house. He had done something so that even when he was living there, he couldn't find peace. He kept performing black magic, amulets, spells, all those rituals. And the one thing about him was, so
He himself would never have any children.
no, no, by the grace of God, he actually had 3 sons, but he never considered them his own. So, all these things kept happening to him, and that's why he used to say these things. Anyway, when paranormal activity started happening in our house, it happened like this. When our aunt got married, I mean, my uncle Zahid's wife, when they got married after the wedding.
Which father, Akil?
No, no, not that one. The beautiful and melodic sounds of the music are now beginning to fill every single corner of the entire room with an incredibly peaceful and serene atmosphere that everyone can truly feel. Now, one day it happened that she felt some disturbance inside the house. She was sleeping, but when she suddenly woke up, she saw that Uncle Zahid was standing right in front of her. She got up and greeted him, but he didn't respond to her greeting. Auntie was a bit surprised and wondered what was going on. Then she greeted him again, but he still didn't reply to her greeting. And then Auntie says, I was completely frozen, meaning I couldn't even move a finger. My fingers wouldn't move at all. Then that person, or rather, the being that had taken the form of Uncle, said, recognize us. We are Jinn. When I heard this, I lost consciousness. After that, I wasn't aware of anything. Later, when Uncle came home, everyone came and woke me up. When they saw me, I told them what had happened, and so there was a roof above it, but we were never allowed to go up there. The reason was that there were a lot of strange things happening on the roof. For one, our roof was in a really bad condition because hardly anyone ever went up there to clean it. If my father had someone clean it, then it got done, otherwise no one else would do it. Then after that, my aunt once saw a completely headless figure sitting there. One day it started to smile.
Headless?
Yes, absolutely, it was headless. Its head was placed right there on the stairs, and when they saw it, it smiled at them. When it smiled at them, right at that moment, their condition worsened. Immediately, I mean, when we took them to the doctor, they had already lost consciousness. The doctor said, brother, now they can't be saved, it's very difficult. After that, our uncle, who used to handle everything, then
That brother?
they were all my father's longtime relatives, meaning close acquaintances. So they were told that, brother, this specific situation and these events had occurred. Then they said, there is no problem at all. Everything is going to be completely resolved and sorted out. I will put a strong protective barrier on it from right here. So then, after that, it gradually got better. Following those events, my mother got married. When my mother got married, things unfortunately got even worse because they used to do all sorts of things to us since we were the most financially stable and well settled members of the family. So basically, what would happen is that there was jealousy, Azlan Bhai, a kind of envy, like, how are you becoming more successful? That was the feeling. How is this Babar so well settled? How do his children study at good places? So they used to prepare things against us. They would say, you can't educate Sabur, give her to us, you're ruining her future. So then my brother said, how can I give my own child to you? I won't give her. So anyway, then during June and July, we used to go to our uncle's house. I was the only one who went. For those 2 months, every wish of mine was fulfilled there. Whatever I asked for, I would get, from food and drink to anything else. Then, after that, things started happening with my mother, gradually. When my mother got married and came into the family, everyone used to say that Babar has brought such a beautiful wife. My mother used to do all the housework every day. When she would get up after drying clothes, there would be splashes and marks all over her body. Even now, there are still marks on her veins. She was going through so much, and my mother endured all of it. She would just say, Allah, Allah, and keep going. This is a blessing from God, and I pray for you as well. Times have changed, and now things come to us from everywhere phones, lavender, and so many other things from people. What all has happened, and how did it happen? Even our grandfather used to explain a lot, saying, you people keep fighting among yourselves. What is all this that you do? Then one day my cousin Tanvir by now, my mother had gotten used to seeing all these things. She could see them clearly. So one day, our cousin Tanvir who is my aunt's son, he often used to stay at our house, especially when he was free from work. So one day he came to our house, and at that time I was 2 years old. When my brother came, what he used to do was, he said, Aunt, I'm going to sleep in the drawing room, so please send Sabor to me. So my mother said, alright, I'll bring him to you after changing his diaper and all. But my mother told him, when you go to sleep, leave one light on. Don't sleep in complete darkness. He replied, Aunt, nothing happens. It's fine. He said, I always sleep like this in the dark. My mother said, alright, fine. After a little while, Tanvir Bhai picked me up himself and brought me to my mom, saying, Aunt, he's fallen asleep. You can lay him on the bed comfortably. Of course, I had no idea. I was only 2 years old, so when my mom laid me down after that, my brother was watching TV and eventually dozed off. Now, in the middle of the night, he heard a sound, and when he woke up from his sleep, when he picked me up, the child's eyes were open, but the child had turned to the side, so my brother didn't notice. Now, when he saw that my eyes were open, he said, what are you doing here? Come on, I'll take you to mom. As soon as he said that, when the child looked at him and smiled, my brother screamed and ran out of the house. He ran all the way to the Eid ground, shouting, Aunt, Aunt, Aunt. He ran away from the house, calling out for you. After whatever happened to me, he stopped coming, but sometimes he would come in the evenings. However, he never stayed at night. Then, what happened was that in our water tank, basically there was a whole couple inside it.
There was a couple.
Yes, there was an entire married couple of jinns, a husband and a wife living together.
How did you learn of this?
We found out when my mother started experiencing it a lot more intensely. Whenever something would happen, my mother would say, brother, please come and check the house. So when our uncle came, he said, you should ask Babar's father to perform an istikara, prayer for guidance, and also keep some information boxes in our house. And now they said, understand that? Unclear. They swore, and they don't drink much.
Rasponfa.
And the pleasure of Allah Almighty is achieved, which now, in my life, as all seven are about to happen together. So he felt it and said in those phone movies together. So, Hazrat Bhai, uncle came. Uncle started peeling the coconut so thoroughly that not a single hair was left on it. He peeled it completely. So, our coconut, the brown one, its skin was left. Now, uncle was performing a ritual over it. The one who was in the tank, the pair that was there, he was confining it inside because it only lived in the water. Now, uncle, of course, had the knowledge. So when uncle started to catch it, slowly, slowly, my father said, you should try touching it. But my mother said, I won't touch it. Brother has forbidden me. Because uncle had strictly said, no matter what happens, do not touch it. If you touch it, it will cause a lot of harm.
The coconut.
That large brown coconut, now that specific coconut was carefully positioned on a very sturdy, weathered wooden table located right in the middle of our spacious and sun-drenched outdoor terrace. But our father didn't believe in these things. Now uncle was standing near the water tank downstairs, reciting protective verses over everything, reading them out. So after father convinced her enough, mother said, all right, let me go and see. I'll touch it. But uncle had also told her not to. As soon as mother just touched it with her fingers, that coconut burst right there on the spot. When that coconut burst, Mother had gone quite far, and she got hurt on her head and on her hand. She was injured in several places, but thankfully there was no loss of life. Mother was saved. Then uncle said, I told you not to touch it. After that, they appeared again in their true form before uncle, inside the tank, in the form of real water, and said, you cannot remove us, nor can you destroy us. Uncle, so even if I try to remove them from here. After that, our eldest uncle did something with us one day, Azran, on our ground floor, you know.
Is this the same uncle who practices magic?
It was the same uncle.
The eldest one.
So what this uncle did one day was, on our ground floor downstairs, there were 4 washrooms built there. Our grandfather had them made for us, out of which 2 were toilets and 2 were bathrooms. They hadn't been used for ages. They'd been locked from the outside for a long time. One day, a really bad smell started coming from there. Such a foul odor. Mom said the whole house was smelling and asked what was causing it. Then she asked my brother what was going on. Even Grandpa started calling out about it, saying the smell was too much and someone should bring the janitor to get it cleaned. Do whatever needs to be done, the smell is just too much. So Mom said, let me call and ask someone to send help. At that time, he was right there on site, so he said, let me tell someone here, they'll take care of it. Someone who deals with sewers will come and open it up. Just then, a janitor happened to be passing by outside, so they grabbed him and asked him to open it. He checked and opened everything up and said, I've opened it, I've done my job, now it's up to you. He was the only one there. The other 2 weren't even around. Now, even after the water was drained, the smell just wouldn't go away. It kept coming back again and again. Then Mom said, let's do this. I think maybe a rat died inside somewhere. Let's open up this bathroom and check. Maybe something died in there, maybe a cat or something. But there was nothing like that in there. Now, my younger brother, when he came back from school, he used to scratch his leg on the wall. He was just a kid. So when he came back from school, he would scratch his leg on the wall. Now, when Zalan Bhai opened the door, there were 2 dead dogs inside, both of them really huge. The dogs were so big that they were just a little shorter than my own height. That's how big they were.
Really huge.
Inside the bathroom of my house, not even inside the house itself, but inside the bathroom, which had been locked up for years. 7.
Years. And who told you all of this?
Everything happened right in front of us. My mother, at that time I was 7 years old, I saw it myself. Such huge ones were coming out right in front of us. We had just come back from school, so we were seeing it ourselves. So I asked, Mom, what is this? Where did these huge bugs come from? My mom said, no, no, it's nothing, you go. Then my mom came. We were sitting there, and Mom was talking to my uncle saying, Brother, this is what happened. She said, Brother, this is what happened, so you tell me, how did this happen? My uncle said, these won't be just 2, there will be 4. My mother was surprised. She said, there aren't 4, only 2 came out and died, and they were so big the smell was overwhelming.
They came.
Uncle said, they didn't just come like that, they were sent to kill you all. If I hadn't put up a protective barrier around the house, they would have killed and eaten you. 2 of them were found outside our gate. Our gate was at the backside, and there was an alley going along with it. 2 were found there. They discussed how they came, then Dad explained, and after that, there was a lot of fighting among the brothers. Dad said, what are you guys doing? Then, once, I got admission to Baria College. That day, I had gone to submit my uniform. I was very happy because I had cleared my interview at Baria, and I had also passed the test with flying colors. So I got admitted to Baria Karsas, and I was coming home very happily. When we left home to get the uniform and then came back home with the uniform, our entire house was on fire.
The house was on fire,
Fire.
all burned down.
Yes, I mean, except for our rooms. There were two rooms of ours.
Yes.
So, in the spacious outdoor terrace area just outside, there was a large wooden table where Mom had carefully kept all the curtains, linens, and various other household things. There was a fire in our house. And when my father came and saw how the fire had started, he got worried too. He said, okay, well, thank God you all weren't at home. We were saved from a big trial. We had gone out, and then we found out that in our house, inside the windows, amulets used to be hidden by our own family members. And this only happened on our floor. There would be one on our floor and another on the roof. We actually discovered those hidden amulets in a very specific way. For instance, whenever my mother would arrange to have the entire house cleaned, you see, our old house featured a large open courtyard right in the middle, which was designed much like a long corridor. There was a specific corridor built in that style, and situated right next to it, there were stone stairs leading further down. Then, inside our second room, there was also a large window. When my mother would have that particular area thoroughly cleaned, we noticed there was another window located down there as well. Then my mother looked around the room with a sense of deep unease and said, I really don't want to stay here another minute. Or she would ask me with a confused expression, what exactly am I doing here in this place? Now that we have covered those initial points in detail, it is time for us to turn our full attention toward all of the other remaining aspects and various components that still need to be addressed in this discussion. Moving forward, we will carefully examine every single one of the other items on our list to ensure that nothing is overlooked and that every detail is given the proper consideration it deserves as we conclude this particular section of our presentation today.
Your uncles? Because there were 8 siblings in total?
As for the rest of our uncles, like Uncle Kasim, they didn't care about any of these things at all. But the ones who were the most strict, there were only two. One was our uncle, and the other was the eldest uncle. And the third in line was our uncle's wife, Mimi.
The story of our uncle's house is that our aunt used to do black magic, but it backfired on her.
Our uncle had two marriages because our eldest uncle used to run a school. He was the headmaster there. The lady he had hired as a teacher was a widow, so uncle,
Said,
I will definitely marry her.
all right, fair enough.
Uncle got married and brought her home, but our aunt, well, she had some black magic done. She had been given certain instructions on how to do it, so she followed those instructions exactly, but obviously, when she started performing all those rituals and reciting those things, she made a mistake and it ended up affecting Uncle himself. At that time, Uncle was driving the car. He used to drive the car. They were going out to have coffee, heading to school, and he said, let's have coffee on the way. But right in the middle of the road, he suddenly had a heart attack and passed away while driving, right there in the middle of the road. She was sitting with him. She got a call saying that Nasir is not waking up, that he has passed away. So she asked how it happened, and they said, we were stopped at a signal. He pressed the brake, and then he collapsed onto the steering wheel. After that, he never got up again. Then, as done, after that, what happened was, our uncle was very handsome. His eyes,
They used that magic.
he was extremely handsome, tall and well built, fair skinned, just like those Kashmiri Pathans. They had colored eyes, but when he passed away, he was unrecognizable. Even we couldn't tell it was our uncle. You know how they say a person's true fate is only revealed in the afterlife? That's what happened to him. After that, my mother suffered even more. Every single day, someone would harm her in some way. Then, when she would draw water from the tank, the water spirit would say, we will kill this woman. My mother, the water spirit. The water spirit.
That's a new term, water spirit.
They said, we will kill her. So then my uncle Badar and his friend Azam uncle and another uncle Nazir uncle, the three of them together managed with great difficulty to capture and confine it.
So all your uncles, they're all religious scholars or people who recite prayers?
No, only one of my uncles is like that. He was just blessed by God.
Where is he now among the uncles?
He has also passed away.
He has also passed away?
Yes, it's been 3 years since he passed away.
Oh, I see, I see.
Actually, yes, recently. He had been getting on in years, and that is why he passed away.
Right?
But our Azam uncle is still around today. Whenever we need anything, we contact him, Azam uncle, because he's always been there for us. We've known him since our childhood.
That
Whenever anything happens, it's always Azam uncle who takes care of it. So whenever something comes up at our house or there's a problem with some work, we always go to Azam uncle and say, Azam bhai, we are facing this issue. Can you help us out?
All right. So we've talked about your uncle. How is your aunt? How is your aunt's household?
The steel mill. That is where they worked. Right there at the steel mill.
Rizwan Bhai.
He was very handsome.
Yes, that's how our Rizwan Bhai was. All right, fine, Rizwan.
Rizwan Bhai was truly an incredibly handsome and striking man back in the day, but then, as you might already know, he unfortunately came under the heavy influence of a certain woman. It was almost like a dark, lingering shadow had suddenly fallen over his entire life. And this happened because he had developed quite a lot of peculiar habits, you see. And he used to spend his time doing all sorts of very strange and inexplicable things that no one could really understand. He was always tense, like something could happen to him for no reason just while walking around. For one, he didn't care about prayers and all that, and on top of that, he would go and greet under any tree or rock for no reason at all. He would do such pointless things,
I mean, he used to do these things for fun.
so even in his house there were jinns.
That's right.
So that jinn, had come upon him. So what would happen is that Rizwan and blood would come out in such a way that when he woke up in the morning, there would be large circles on his body, as big as a regular water glass on his hands and body, just like when we get cupping done.
Like,
Like when we get cupping done, that's how those marks would appear on him. So people would ask, what is all this? What's happening? At first, he just had a normal fever. But when blood started coming out of his body, and then when he was hospitalized, they said that he doesn't have much time left. He might not survive because all the blood has drained from his body.
the problem was the doctor couldn't diagnose why the blood was coming out, what was happening.
What did the doctor even say? He just said it was normal for the body,
In order to possess.
something like this. Maybe some infection had happened.
Okay, so where was the bleeding coming from?
Upon closer inspection of the individual, it became quite apparent that there wasn't any significant bleeding coming from anywhere in particular on their body, nor were there any visible signs of external trauma or open wounds to be found at that moment. She was hospitalized, and after that, during those days, my three paternal aunts had a lot of fights with my mother. A lot of fights. Then my aunt said, I apologize. Please do whatever you can to save my daughter because it's become very difficult for her. Do whatever it takes. I just want my son to be okay. So my mother said, there's no problem. I'll call my brother, your uncle. When she called him, then it is highly unlikely that the child will survive, but I'm trying my absolute best. So then, when uncle started performing his difficult work, they all started relentlessly coming after him from all sides, saying, we will kill him. We won't let him go.
Is this the same uncle, the eldest one?
Yes, we have only one uncle who handles everything. The children too
Or
are healthy, everything is fine. Then our aunt passed away from cancer. She died of cancer. What happened was when our uncle had surgery, he recovered after the operation. But our aunt, well, in their family, on our uncle's side, there is a liver disease, like an acidity related illness. It's a hereditary disease in their family, that's what it is. So they said, no, brother, there's no problem. Now, our aunt developed gallstones. She had stones in her gallbladder and needed to have surgery. When she went for the operation, the doctor who operated on her used an instrument that had previously been used on a cancer patient.
for her.
Because of that, she developed cancer in her body. So during her cancer treatment, our aunt used to go to Gold Market in Nazimabad.
Yes, yes.
It was at Gold Market where
I spent a lot of time at Gold Market as a child.
our house was right there in front of Nazimabad. So our aunt said, I'll get a house nearby as well, so it will be easier for you to come and go. So our aunt got a house right there. When she bought the house, there were already a lot of strange influences in it. We were very young at the time, maybe 10 or 12 years old. Aunt had cancer, so my mother and aunt were getting her treated at Kiran Hospital. They used to take her there and bring her back every day. The brother who saw the Jinn in my form, the one who saw the Jinn looking like me, he was the one who used to take her and bring her back. Now one day, Aslan Bhai, we were all sitting in the lounge. The electricity had gone out and my sister had a mobile phone. At that time, those small keypad mobiles were common. She showed that her phone wasn't charging, even though it was plugged in, it wasn't charging, and the electricity was also out.
Yes.
But her phone was charging, the percentage was increasing 1, 2, 3, just like that. So I said to her, Yo, Baji, how is your phone charging? Or she replied, Oh, wait, I don't know. Every day when the electricity goes out and I use my phone, it just keeps charging like this. Its battery never runs out. The phone was charging without being plugged in. We were all sitting in the lounge when, after a while, someone knocked on the door. There was a person in shalwar kameez. You know how it is when we're all sitting in the lounge at home. The wooden door is usually open, but
Like the one with the grill.
we quickly peeked to see who it is, so we did the same. We could see someone's shalwar, so we realized someone was there. No, then we closed the gate again, thinking maybe someone had left. Then, after a little while, someone knocked on the gate again, but after knocking, we saw the same shalwar again. When we opened the gate, there was no one there again. After that, our eldest sister, who is now in Dubai, whenever she used to come, this would happen to her too. At first, she didn't live with our mother, let me tell you. When she hadn't gone to Dubai yet, she used to stay very little. She came out after taking a bath, and what happened was that she was sitting there drying her hair. Suddenly, a Jinn came and sat right next to her, sitting there calmly. When she looked over while drying her hair, she happened to glance to the side and saw it. She screamed loudly and ran away crying, saying, I saw something here, something like this is here. Aunt and mom said, No, it must be your imagination. Such things don't happen. Everyone was convinced that the cancer aunt had wasn't getting better because of that. They said that basically those jinn were asking for us, the kind of jinn that fall in love with someone.
Let me see.
So it happened to our sister. They said, Give her to us. In return, we will make you very rich. Aunt said, No, that's not possible. They threatened, Fine, then we will kill you. We will kill your daughter. So it's. She did have cancer, but she was getting as much treatment as possible, trying to get out of there, looking for a house, but she couldn't find one. Whenever they went to look for a house, brother, some problem would always come up, the deal would fall through. So she passed away right there, inside that same house.
Aunt used to bring amulets.
Aunt used to have amulets made.
Aunt.
Hmm.
What was going on with that?
Our uncle used to work in transport. So his mother-in-law, she also gets very dark, involved in dark things because there's something mixed up inside. That's why in our house, everyone keeps doing the same thing.
You've dragged the whole family into this, man?
So now, what is it?
Uncle or paternal uncle?
Everyone in our house used to do the same thing. And my mother, because of this, we were all troubled. Today, thank God, we live completely separately. It's been 7 or 8 years.
So tell us about Aunt. She used to bring amulets. What was that all about?
She used to have my mother make all those things.
Her mother did magic.
Her mother used to come from an incredibly high and distant place, so high, really from way up there in the vastness of the heavens. She would come down in such a remarkable way that she would even carefully place various objects directly before our very eyes, saying clearly to us, Look, I am putting this right here for you to see. So, because of this, once my mother told my father, Look at what is happening, she is performing these strange and wonderful things. And I truly believe you should sit down and talk to Salman about it. Then my father came and said, My mind is already overwhelmed, and now you people are making me even more worried. When she started doing those things, all our work completely stopped. Whatever construction work my father had going on, it all came to a halt. Everything was lost. But she didn't stop doing what she was doing. She kept at it. As they say, she kept at it with absolute consistency, sticking to that one thing. She used to bury things inside our house. When our house caught fire, my father had a proper gate installed so that no one could enter our portion. But what she would do is, right by that gate, on the side, inside the railing, she would bury amulets. Every morning it was my mother's routine. When my mother woke up, our gardener would come to water the plants and my mother would hand him the hose. At first, my mother would just attach the hose, but after that, every day she would take out the amulets.
Why are amulets coming out of the house, brother? What's going on?
They would be collected with my grandfather.
So everyone would bring amulets to my grandfather?
Yes,
They would all gather there.
they would all gather there. Some effects inside our house were such that, for example, the nails my uncle put in the foundation,
How did you find out about those nails in the foundation?
we found out because our grandfather told us himself. So then when we had our casting, and there was talk of selling the house.
Right.
So my uncle said, I did this for that very reason, so that you siblings would keep fighting among yourselves and the house wouldn't be able to be sold.
He admitted it?
He had willingly accepted the situation, and now they persistently kept on doing all of these things. So, because of that, various unusual objects and items would frequently come into our house. And then, in addition to those, there were also things like protective amulets, charms, and all of that sort of stuff. You see, when one person would stop doing it, another would start, and when the second would stop, a third would begin. This cycle just kept going on, and everything happened to us. Our grandfather passed away in this very manner. Our uncle also died for the same reason. I had another uncle who passed away very early on because he was born without kidneys, so he was on dialysis. Why these things finally ended in our house? Because of our maternal uncle. At one point, my uncle told my mother a few things, advising her to be very regular in her prayers and ablutions, and that before going to sleep at night, she should recite protective prayers. My uncle had taught her some specific things that she absolutely had to recite every night before sleeping. So my mother made it her routine that before going to bed at night, she would perform these protective prayers in the house. They would recite the Quran throughout the house, moving from room to room. My father would play Quranic recitation, but he himself would also be reading the Quran all over the house. He would make sure to recite in every corner, sitting in different places so that the Quran was read in every part of the house. After that, I kept a cat in our house, and that cat came as well. You can see which one it was. I didn't have a cat, so Taimi gave me one as a gift.
Time he gave me the cat.
He actually gave me that little cat back when I was just in the ninth grade. So I naturally brought the cat home with me. Now, when the cat first came to live at our house, it started getting startled all of a sudden, just by looking around the room. You see, cats can often see these strange things, so whenever it got really scared, something or the other would usually happen. But absolutely nothing ever happened to us, simply because we were always protected. That's why all these things that were supposed to happen to us stopped completely. But with our uncle's children, these things kept happening. They were always suffering losses. They were constantly facing misfortune because of what they had done. Sometimes their child would have an accident. Sometimes there would be problems in their work because they were in the transport business.
Now,
What is the current situation? The current situation is that in this house, it's filled with paranormal activities. I mean, even today, if we go there to live, there would be a lot of incidents happening.
but uncle's living there now, right?
Uncle is living there because nothing bothers him there, not even from before, because he lives in filth.
Right?
Exactly, when a person does these things themselves, then cleanliness becomes important to them, especially when someone is regular with prayers and fasting.
Yes. Are those uncle's sons?
Uncle's sons,
Are there children?
yes.
The uncle who has passed away, does he have children?
He also has three children. He has three sons.
If they are also watching this podcast, what would you like to say to them?
I would just say to them that whatever you had to do, you have already done it. Even you yourselves are not in any great position. The house that belonged to our uncle, by the grace of God, was very big. Hazran Bhai, it was a huge house for that time. Back then, when people used to talk about houses, saying, no, I wish our house was like that, and their house was so beautiful.
Today,
He himself has passed away. May God rest his soul, and his children are scattered. Some are here, some are there. Now they live in a rented house, even though our uncle had built such a big house. But after selling everything off, doing this and that, you see how much greed a person can have, greed and avarice.
that's right. So, all these stories you've told, all the stories we've heard, did you tell them at home before coming here?
Yeah, she knows. She actually laughed at me.
They know?
Yes,
You told them that today I'm going to talk about all these things?
absolutely. I told her before coming. I said that, Mom. And at first, she just looked at me and started laughing. She said, You? I said, No, it's good, right? I should tell. I had written a story, so I said, Let me see if I was going somewhere. So I had said that I would make a nice Russian salad for Aslan Bhai and send it. But next time when you go, then.
I want Russian salad.
So my mom said, I'm leaving right now. If you had told me earlier, I definitely would have sent it. I said, No, okay, no problem. I'll tell Aslan Bhai.
Oh, how sweet, how sweet. I really want to say thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Honestly, even just the thought behind this gesture truly means a lot to me. Let's take a moment to really look at this story. Honestly, we have already heard the entire thing from beginning to end so many times now. You simply do not ever seem to stop talking, and these long, winding stories of yours just seem to go on and on forever without any sign of reaching a conclusion.
That's true, they just keep
They just keep.
going on.
Sometimes property gets involved, sometimes gold comes into the picture.
As for property, Aslan Bhai, if I our house isn't even that big. It's not like it's worth 50 or 60 crores that the brothers would fight over it. Now, when all this happened, one brother said we should sell the house, another said we're not selling. Even if the house does get sold, what will really come of it, Aslan Bhai? These days, if you divide 3 or 4 crores into 8 shares, or even 3 crores, what will you really get out of it? Whatever comes your way.
That's true.
So then, all of you and everyone else who kept trying to sell it, my father was never in favor of it. My father said, I'll buy it myself. But my mother said, I will never live in this house. Even if you buy it, renovate it, and rent it out, we will not live there because so much has happened to me there. I just don't want to stay there. The same thing happened to our friends. We didn't used to go up to the roof, but I said, Mom, how long are we not going to go? Now my friends have asked to have a barbecue.
Now I'm grown up.
Yeah, so I thought, let's do it. There's no problem. Mom said, all right then, if you're not going to listen to me, do as you wish.
After mom, you should at least listen to me.
So then, since you wouldn't listen, we came up with this solution. First, we would clean the entire roof.
The roof.
After that, we
Who would want to have a barbecue and all that mess?
barbecue. Anyway, he didn't come. He was saying, by Monday, my client is coming. I have a meeting with him. I said, no, Bob, no problem. I'll come over. So I told him, come on, let's clean the roof. We'll do the barbecue at night. He agreed. So I set up the pipe right there on the roof near the tank and started washing everything there. First, we cleaned off all the dirt and dust. We cleaned the whole place thoroughly.
Those water containers. Look, this is a joke I can make, but you can't. No matter how much you try, you can't say it. When, where, which one. You still think they're after you, don't you?
Maybe they still could be, but
Is there actually any reason for such suspicion?
now nothing like that happens to us anymore.
Great, happy Tuesday.
Alhamdulillah, everything is fine. I myself am very mindful of my prayers and fasting. I told you I even get up for tahajjud. If I can't fall asleep, then I just sit and watch your podcast. So now, nothing like that happens to us anymore.
Because
We moved away from that old place for good, right? We even completely changed our house and our entire surroundings. So when we finally moved away from there, within a very short period of time, we shifted to a much better and more comfortable place to live. That is exactly why we don't have any worries or concerns at all now.
So you mean you had a fight with your cousin? You really caused a lot of trouble.
But the thing is, Aslan Bhai, my heart just doesn't want to meet them because they did something really bad to my mom and dad.
Even my mom and dad no longer see them.
Now my mom and dad absolutely don't meet them at all. My mom says, whatever had to happen has already happened. There's no point in looking back now. Just live your life with what you have, mind your own business, and there's no need for you to get involved with anyone else. We never interfered in anyone else's problems, nor did my mother, nor did my father. We have always treated everyone well. Whenever my uncle or my father's brother needed something, they would just say whatever they wanted to my father, like, brother, I need help here, please help me out. And my father would immediately do it.
He would.
Alright, fine, my brother is in trouble, but when we were in trouble,
At that exact moment when we also required assistance ourselves.
it had all ended. So I remember very well that my father used to walk from Nazimabad to Sadar and then from there to Kimari, searching for work, but he couldn't find any work. When he would return, he would be in such bad shape that his feet would be swollen and cracked because our situation had completely fallen apart, just like his belongings.
Even now, all this construction is still going on. All of it.
Only the builders and I.
Okay, okay.
It's just the two of us because I have a younger brother, and my younger brother says he's not interested in this work. He wants to go into the media field. So in media, we have a cousin with a company called Hashpi Productions. So he stays with them, but he says he doesn't like the builder line. So we tell him, why, brother? You should do it. You could run it. But he says, no, I'm not interested. People make me run around in the sun and hassle me. He says, if you're so surprised, then you do it. The thing I liked most about it was that I got support in it. Then it became less over time. In the beginning, even I wasn't really passionate about the builder line. I only got into it because of the circumstances, or you could say because of the agreement with the workers. So I got my builder involved. I finished my work. I went to the relevant people, and now I also got support and was surprised. And I kept getting support and kept being surprised. But even after that, when I came to Mayo University, our uncle used to get very jealous of us. When our work started up again, after that, our uncle would say, your son, he lives a very lavish lifestyle. He drives around in a car. I saw him drifting, doing this and that, racing the car. My father would say, until I see it with my own eyes, I can't believe it because I haven't seen it myself.
So if he does it, my father, well, to this day,
Has never seen us driving the car around like that, but our uncle used to say that we did, and what he saw, he actually saw correctly.
once someone even complained about me to my elder brother and my father, saying, your child drives the car fast, does drifts and speeds. So what did my family say in response? If he doesn't do it at this age, then when will he? That's what our father said. Our
Father said, I haven't seen it myself. The day I see it, I'll believe it.
So your father never saw it?
I never got caught, actually.
You were clever, huh? What do you like to eat?
When it comes to all kinds of food, I will eat absolutely everything except for green vegetables.
You don't like vegetables?
Among vegetables, there's just that one purple one, eggplant and bitter gourd.
No eggplant, so
I don't like eggplant and also bitter gourd.
you don't like bitter gourd. What about mixed vegetables?
Eat veggies.
So you do eat mixed vegetables, that's still vegetables.
There are some vegetables I eat, but I absolutely don't eat these two.
Alright then, thank you. Thank you for coming on this podcast. And after listening to all the stories you've shared, I can only pray that your problems are resolved soon, the property gets sold, and everyone receives their share, so you can even change your car.
That's already done, thank God.
Even more, even more.
This
You won't eat with that money, so why were you smiling?
just don't buy it with that money.
I strongly advise you not to spend your hard earned money on it, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me when I say that is simply not how the world works. In my honest opinion, if you really stop to think about it, all of these material things stay right here. This real estate, these bank accounts, and all of these physical possessions. Absolutely everything remains here when we are gone. Therefore, fighting and arguing over all of these temporary things is entirely and utterly futile in the grand scheme of things. At least that is what I truly believe from my own personal perspective. We haven't had any property disputes in our family because I don't really have any special properties, so I can't feel that. But from the properties I've seen, from what I've observed in people, they even go as far as to kill or die over it. There's nothing in these things. I would also like to say to you that, okay, you've seen property, fine, there are ups and downs, but keep your heart clean, let it go, forgive, and move on. Let these things go, because this is the kind of thing that the more you hold on to it, the more slowly it will start affecting you mentally in some way or another. Somewhere you'll start feeling angry at your cousins, at your uncle, at your aunt, at your relatives. You'll be thinking about 10 different things like what's happening, why is it happening. So forgive and move on from such things, and even curse such property. Man, I don't. We have, brother.
Now we have to live here.
Give everyone power of attorney, run away, let them take everything, leave it all behind, cut ties and end it.
No, we've split up completely.
And don't regret it, brother, that in the end it happened. Just let it go.
Since the vast majority of my closest friends happen to live over in the area of Nazimabad, I find myself traveling there quite often. Every single Saturday without fail, we definitely make it a point to go out and meet up together.
Yes, I need to see who is asking the question. I need to see who is asking the question. It is important for me to identify the person speaking so that I can provide a proper response and engage fully with the inquiry. I must be able to see your face to understand your perspective and ensure clear communication between us during this exchange. Without a clear visual of the person addressing me, I cannot effectively answer, so please ensure I can see exactly who is posing the question right now.